There we go.
What's up, everybody? We are back with No Bucks Given, episode 120, guys. God damn.
We've made it quite far. A lot farther
Good.
than I thought this was gonna make it.
I feel somewhat dead inside. But
Yeah.
that's like every day.
Well, because we made it to 120, or
It's a multitude of reasons. Okay. We all just got together and we watched Kamala Harris walk around a prison. And it
Her husband banned
was
for one reason or another.
it was
hold
strong
on.
and brave, okay? It was strong and brave. I don't understand what's going on in this world.
So that is a couple of things I want to talk about, kind of to an extent, but not spend so much time on
I
politics.
don't want to spend
It's
much
more or less
time.
just a talking point on what I see when I'm in Twitter.
Bad. It's all bad.
Yeah.
So I actually, and I'll give you some examples, and it is bad. It's horrible. It's stupid because I was sitting here. So I'm up in Minneapolis, and I'm, getting ready to leave for Atlanta tomorrow, right? So, um, and this is what I do. I scroll through Twitter, and I look for dumb tweets. Literally, that's what I do. I look for dumb tweets, and I don't respond. I mean, sometimes I do respond hastily, like, listen, motherfucker, you are the dumbest piece of shit I've ever met. However, some of these you have to take them with a what's the word?
A
Take
grain of
them
salt.
Great
lightly.
song.
You have to like hand carry some of these people when you respond to them. And I'll give you a couple of responses. I just responded to another one. Um, here's one. Here's one. This is one I just responded. So this is a tweet from confirmed Judge Scott, whoever. I don't give a fuck who it is. It says Southern white women, if you can hide a shopping spree from your husband, then you can vote for Kamala Harris. Do it for your daughters, your sisters, and your best friends. But most importantly, do it for yourself. Put a woman in office to keep women safe. I responded with, I laugh at people who assume that she is a woman, that she will keep women safe.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You could be a fucking piece of shit and terrible person. I just want to remind everybody to bet MGM while we're on these talking points.
Don't forget DraftKings, all right? Um,
DraftKings, MGM. Just make sure you are gambling. I don't care your age. The younger, the better. Make sure you waste all your money and your parents. MGM,
yes,
baby.
absolutely, absolutely. And we're trying to get ads for betting because
Mm.
we want to bet on how many more seasons or how many more episodes we're gonna have. Just kidding.
We're
So
sponsored
over
by
under.
DraftKings
Yes.
and partner with Jamie
Anyone.
Foxx.
Bet MGM, motherfucker.
We're
Bet
partnered with
MGM.
the Jamie Foxx, the fake one, the one that came back after he died.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's the one we're
right.
partnered with. Jamie Foxx
Yes.
2.0.
So here's another one, and this is at Kamala wins, or well, it's Kamala's wins. It's at Harris underscore wins. Mark Cuban and 87 other CEOs just announced they are all in for Kamala Harris. Let's go! I said good for them because they will give even more tax breaks to the rich. Why do you think they are supporting them?
I can't wait to be unburdened by something that hopefully has never been.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I did actually. This one, this is another talking point that we can have. The six wrestling megastars of all time. This
Kamala
person
Harris.
put yes. This person put Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. I said I do not disagree with this.
Did you tell him to bet MGM?
I was going to.
You have to
Um,
postscript that every time.
right.
We're trying to make money here, man.
This person said, and this is really where one of the things. If your pillow, and this is about tariffs, if your pillow was made in China and the American government slaps a tariff on Chinese made pillows, the tariff is added to the cost, which is true, of the pillow at the at the point of sale in Walmart. The country of origin doesn't pay the tariff, the pillow buyer does. That's how tariffs work. I responded with, that is fine. Then maybe Walmart won't import then. Maybe they will actually purchase US made. I mean, think about it. I mean, right? Common sense. I mean, that's what Trump is doing. He's forcing these companies for tariffs. We're going to tariff you. And the country still pays the tax, but the tax goes, so it comes to Walmart, right? They put that tax, that tariff cost on the pillow. So you're paying more for the pillow on top of the taxes you're paying. But if it's American made, they don't put a tariff on it. It's made in America. Why would you
Well,
tariff the
man,
whole
if
fucking
you
country?
recall, like when he was president, a lot of his shit was keep it made within America.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, man, when COVID-19 hit, if you didn't have the ability to produce a lot of the things people need in your country, when all this
Right?
shit wasn't moving around the world, you are
You
in
were great.
trouble. We're too reliant, especially Canada, too reliant on like foreign products when it's so easily something that can be made here. But no company is like, we don't want to pay Canadians. We'd rather pay fucking nickel from Taiwan to make it for 10 cents. And like, I don't know, man. But
So
yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk
here,
too much
here,
about this kind of
here,
shit, to be
yeah,
honest.
here's another one.
Right.
This one's about billionaires. The original tweet is, and it's at Mike Jolet or whatever. I can't pronounce his name.
Read it.
What's the fucking point? What's the fucking point of allowing billionaires to accrue all this money if we have to pay them every time their company loses value? That's what the billions we let you keep are for, dipshits.
Well, the
But hold on, he then responded with him to himself, because nobody wants to talk to this guy, but I had a conversation with him.
Anyway.
He said, okay, how about this? No more billionaires, none. After you reach 999 million, every red cent goes to schools and healthcare. You get a trophy that says I won capitalism and we name a dog park after you. And I responded, because that isn't capitalism,
but neither is company buyouts that failed.
right?
So capitalism doesn't actually really exist in its true form
Right,
anymore.
right, right. Um, just give me a second. There's one
No more
more.
seconds for you. We got to get into the nitty gritty and fuck
Go ahead.
politics and fuck everything.
Well, so oh, here's one more. I'm embarrassed, and then I'll stop. I'm embarrassed to live in a country where Donald Trump is even being considered to be president. I said
He's already been
this. Well,
president. First of
so
all,
then this dumb fucking person responds is, being rich and entitled is like getting extra breaks on corporate tax breaks like Trump gave, making prices higher for lower income. This has not, this motherfucker can't, but it's Twitter. This is not helped economy. Maybe common sense people should use. I
okay,
said Trump isn't the only one that gets those
maybe
tax
English
breaks.
you should learn.
So I said, do you like and follow Taylor Swift and the celebrities that think as you do? Because they get the exact same fucking tax breaks that Donald Trump does. What
He literally
now
said
is
the
your argument?
system is broken, and he's like, I know because I use it.
Yeah,
So there you go.
exactly.
He outwardly outed himself, and everybody else that was super rich that didn't like it was like,
Mhm.
we gotta stop that. Anyways, fuck politics. Every one of them is a pile of shit. Country's
Mhm.
fucked. My country's fucked. Every country's fucked.
So I do want to say this, and this is actually a response to somebody, and I'm just going to use this as my, just stop, Heather.
Like, you're the only one who's been talking. Sorry.
People that sit there on Twitter and fucking say the stupid shit like, I'm embarrassed to live in a country where Donald Trump is even being considered to be president. Listen, motherfucker, your point doesn't move votes from one side to the other. Your followers may go with you, but the people you follow already believe that it's true. So shut the fuck up.
But
Just stop talking.
does this person not know that Donald Trump was already president?
Yes, I know.
What a stupid fucking point. Anyways, okay, so we only have a couple things to talk about. We don't have too much tonight because not a lot's happened in the world that any of us really
That
care
we want
about.
to talk about.
There's very little like entertainment news that any of us would care about. There's some wrestling things. There's a couple YouTube things,
I have a
and
couple of football
couple
things.
of
I have
football
a couple of
things, which
football
I'll let
things.
you take over because I don't know too much. But what would you guys like to dive into first? Bit of entertainment. Did you want to go into wrestling, or did you want to go into some YouTube thing that's happening?
You do what you want. You
Heather,
guys.
I'll leave you the decision.
Let's start with the YouTube thing because a lot of us have either seen or heard of Nikki Avocado.
Oh yes, Nikado
I have not.
avocado. Okay, I don't know too much. I've seen some things because, like any YouTube celebrity, once someone does something popular, everybody in
Everybody else has
YouTube
to
is
copy it.
like, "Here's my thumbnail of someone else doing something." We put them in our thumbnail, but that's because we're going to talk about him. All I knew is this guy is a gay man, and he used to be like doing like eating
The
food,
mukbang videos,
but like he
yeah.
was like a small guy, and he started like doing like these food eating competitions, and then he became pretty massive physically.
Yeah.
And like I seen a couple of things that he did, and I'm like, who watches this? Like, I just
Apparently, a lot of people have watched it, and apparently, this was his idea of a social experiment.
well, I he acts like a giant baby eating food. That's exactly like an actual baby eating food. So I don't know who's really watching these videos, but it's the only interesting thing I see is that he pre-recorded like years of content at his
2 years worth, to be
at
exact.
his larger weight, and then he recently came out. And if I put the picture up there, he's on the right there. He looks really thin, and he's acting like he's the fucking Riddler or Joker. He's like, I fooled you all. This is the best social experiment I've ever done, and I'm always steps ahead of you. I'm like, who? What the fuck are you talking about? Who cares?
I can't even see what you're talking about.
It's on the stream.
I'm looking at the stream, but I'm not
You
seeing
might
shit.
be delayed.
I'm seeing the picture.
Oh, okay, hold on. Give me a sec. All right, so I identify as oh fuck me.
So
I seen this guy. I
yeah.
seen this
So
Yeah.
everybody that has gone on YouTube has seen this guy in some extent. Heather, do you know a bit more than this than I do? Because I don't know.
Apparently, from what I have been reading through several different articles and tweets, this mentally damaged young man, I'm going to say, because there's no other explanation for him.
He does look like he is this mentally disabled. He does. I'm not
Uh,
saying he is. Go
but
ahead.
anyway, he started out as the picture on the right, and then
Left.
he got as to the picture on the left through doing the mukbang videos and just all this gross different food combinations.
Hold on. So he started out
On the
Skinny,
yeah.
as bald dude and then
No,
got
he
fat.
had he. This is a new picture of him on the right, but he
Yes.
looked like this originally.
okay.
Yeah.
So then doing all these mukbang videos, he got addicted to eating, or so he says in his videos. Ended up on fucking CPAP, a ventilator, a whole bunch of different other kind of weight related issues. And now people are saying it's only 7 months, but it's been 2 years. So if you're going with the 7 months thing, which is what he tried to portray it as, then he crashed hard into Ozempic.
Ozempic,
Yeah.
you know.
So for
So hold on. So this guy thinks okay.
so okay. So
Hold on,
let
I'll
me
explain it
okay.
further. I'll explain it further. What he did for this social experiment was recorded a ton of videos
Mhm.
within a few months and
Okay.
then scheduled them to release as late as possible for each one.
Okay, so my question is this is fake?
Well, he really did what
Is
he did.
Yes, he really got that fat.
that quick?
No, it took him a long time to get fat, and it
So
took him a long
that's
time to
my
get
point.
skinny.
That's my
But
point.
the
He's saying
social,
he got fat.
He's had the channel longer than 2 years.
I
but
understand
these
that. If you
Let
let
me
me
finish
finish,
that.
don't hold the fuck on. So he said that he did this in 7 months.
No,
I don't think that's the social experiment part
Okay,
of it. The social experiment part of
so
it is how people
that's where I
treated
got
him
that's where I
on
got
his
confused because
journey
I
to
heard
obesity.
I okay, so I'm just you said 7 months and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? 7 months now, 2 years? Okay, go ahead.
I was going to clarify if you just shut up and listen. Hmm. You have to be home for that.
God damn. Go ahead.
He set up videos to release
Okay.
over the course of 2 years. He's had this channel for, I want to say, at least 5.
It might have
Because
been
it
longer
took
than that.
him like 3 years to get to the weight he was at.
Okay.
So then at that mark, he then decided, okay, this is going to be a social experiment. And he recorded back to back videos
Okay.
and then scheduled them for release. Uh, it's appearing that 2 years down the line for each,
Okay.
to get through
Hmm.
and losing the weight off camera. And this,
So the
So
social
what's the
experiment.
I
very
don't
good.
understand. Okay, so what I'm not understanding is what is the problem? What is he in trouble for something? I don't get it.
He is claiming that this is all a social experiment that he put together himself because he's always 2 steps ahead of everybody else
Okay.
to keep himself relevant
Well,
and to drag on his viewers through as much clickbait as
I
possible.
So
would say.
he's an egomaniac
So
is
no,
what you're
I
saying.
would say to an extent, yes, it is like it is like a pump for relevancy, but it also is like that. From my understanding of the social experiment, because he was such a well-known name on YouTube, and everybody that is also a well-known name on YouTube commented on him eating himself to death, and how people like treated him from when he was one way to when he was another, and the people that would have encouraged him to continue eating himself until he died. And that was the social experiment side of it, from my understanding. So we haven't really gotten the reveal of what that is. And
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, I don't give a fucking
I don't
shit.
either, but you know what? The ones that I have seen that have talked about him have all sat there and said, we're worried about you, dude. You need to stop.
But like, what is
So
this? What is the like? What is the purpose of this experiment? Is be like, will some people cheer me on and watch me die on YouTube from eating food? You don't need to go from fucking 110 pounds to 500 pounds and back to prove that to be true. Everyone
No,
should
you
already
don't.
right.
know that it's true.
All
So
you
this
have to
is
do is watch My 500-Pound Life, and then you know for sure exactly how society is.
yeah, well, I I
It's the whole, oh, he
I'm
was
kind
funnier
of
when he
going
was fat type of
so I'm
thing.
kind of going to school for this shit. And it's people like this are the ones that need the help the most because this kid is mentally fucked in the head.
He is. He's a narcissist. He's an egomaniac, and
Yes,
he's fucking.
he is a um yeah, he's a narcissist. He's narcissistic.
All I
So
saw is some of
go
the
ahead.
video that he released when he got skinnier, like or just recently. It's just, it comes off as such like a bad villain Batman cosplay thing.
It's
I'm like,
Lex Luthor
what's
mixed with Riddler.
it's like, oh yeah, I was ahead of you the whole time. Yeah, I ate myself almost to death, and yeah, I did it on purpose. It's like, bravo. Like what the fuck? I don't understand. What's the success here?
Yeah, I thought this guy got in trouble for something. That's what you were talking
No,
about. I
there's no
don't
like. I think there was a lot of negative press about him when he was basically on camera shoving food down his mouth, looking like a big baby, acting like a fucking
Sitting there in
child.
just his underwear or completely naked,
oh
fucking having Takis in his belly button. It's like, what the fuck, man?
I don't know who watched it, but apparently he was super popular. Like I have to believe that at least 75% of the world's population has like an IQ below the Down syndrome line.
Yes.
Because it's just like some of this content is so mind-numbingly stupid that I just don't understand. It's like people that like thrive off of reality TV, like the lowest common denominator of reality television. Some TV programs can be kind of like educational to a way, in a way, but
Yeah.
like you watch the stupid ass fucking Love Shack season 410. It's like, okay, what am I getting out of this? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I don't understand. People seem to think, yeah, I don't know.
It's like the weirdest gotcha bitch. It's like, did you get anybody?
Yeah.
He,
Like,
he's one of those guys that is he's probably a basement dweller at home. If that makes sense, he lives in mom's basement, has nothing to do, so he does this.
well, I'm sure he's like a millionaire for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well, he can live in his mom's basement, and that's fine.
And he just rolls around in food. And now I don't know. Like, I really wonder what he would end up doing with his content. Now that he's like, well, I'm still gonna be eating food because I love food. And it's like, man, track record wise, like if you look at a lot of like celebrities, oh, they're like Zach Galifianakis. People are like, well, he was funnier when he was bigger. Like all these comics have that stigma attached to them.
Well,
Especially like
I'm gonna tell
physical
you
comedians.
two of them, Drew Carey,
Mm-hmm.
after he lost the weight, he actually started acting very lethargic. So it's just like, dude.
The physical comedy actors lose the body that aids in it. Like if Kevin James all of a sudden was fucking 120 pounds doing Paul Blart Mall Cop, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
like a lot of his comedy is based in his physical size. So whatever, I don't know.
He's
This
lost
is
a lot of weight too, though.
this is I know he's gone like back and forth because he was in some boxing movie, but
Yeah, he was in. I can't think of
I
it.
can't think of it. But we're both thinking the same movie. This is such a thing that like went extremely viral, and I have no idea the supreme intrigue in this guy.
That was his plan all along.
I've always been 2 steps ahead. Jesus Christ! Not in a fucking marathon while you were eating like that.
Yeah, no, and for him to sit there and have that moniker of, well, you know, people preferred me to eat myself to death and thought I was funnier when I was fat. Dude, you were never funny.
Yeah, there's, I don't know, and the
I've never
YouTube
seen any of his
YouTube
videos.
people are
I've
like,
seen clips on my timeline, but it was always it was before he got to the point that you see him on the left hand side.
he got even bigger than that.
He
On the left-hand side, I
identifies
think.
as skinny, though.
This is
No,
just like,
no, but I'm saying just at the very beginning of this fatness here, he still wasn't funny.
he's
So
never been funny.
the bald,
He's
the
not
bald.
very much of a comedian. Everybody, like a lot of people on YouTube are like, oh my god, what a genius. It's
Yeah,
like,
I don't.
what? I don't.
How?
What did he do?
He
Explain
put
to me what
himself
he
at
did that was so genius.
he put himself at such a huge health risk doing this that he literally could have died before he ended up pulling it off.
I think people are just like enamored with the fact that he pre-recorded years of videos. It's like he was ahead of me, but like the end result is what? He's skinny. Okay,
Pretty bad.
that's
Pretty bad.
usually that's just hard work. It's not genius.
No, it's not. It's just we
Whatever.
can sit there and pre-record fucking
You know how many people are like
100%
on?
Red Dead Redemption every day and then release it for a year and a half.
Well, you know how many people put those things up. It's like my transformation, and it's just that is exactly this. So what's the difference?
Right.
Anyways, fuck this guy.
Yes.
That's all I can say. I've never seen a full video with him, but anything I've seen snippets of, I'm like, holy fucking Christ! This is like the lowest common denominator of entertainment.
Yeah.
It is.
Remember to bet on MGM.
What's next?
Well, we don't have much left. We have a couple things. I'm going to save the wrestling stuff for the end because that's
Yeah,
the
because that
main thing we're
usually
going to talk
drags the
about.
conversation out for us. But how about I'm Steve?
Who's Steve?
Well, on the
Jack
heels of
Black.
on the heels of Borderland comes another winner.
Fucking Jack Black shows up in a trailer wearing a blue T-shirt and just goes, "I'm Steve," and it's like, okay,
The weird thing about Jack Black now is like it's just like he wanders off set or in set from like just walking on the street, and it's like you're in the movie, get in here.
yeah.
Like, so they're doing a Minecraft movie. I'm sure none of us care. I don't. I never played Minecraft. I mean, I don't
I
know.
tried to play it because Wendy wanted to play it, so I tried to do it because I knew she was going to ask me for help so that I would know what I was doing. And my God, it is the dumbest game. It's dumber than Fortnite.
It's well, the thing is, it's like there's no real objective, from my understanding. It's just like a game builder, an open playroom for kids online to build what they want, do little missions. You know, you can upgrade, you can get shit. I don't like. It's literally like a sandbox game.
It's literally a dumbed down version of the Lego games.
Well, the thing is, it's made a huge amount of money, and a lot of the things it introduced, like the crafting elements, have been involved in a lot of other games. So I guess there's that. But what kind of story? Like this is like akin to like at least Jumanji is not even a real game, so they
Yeah.
can do what they want with it.
Hmm.
But this is like if Super Mario was live action.
They tried that once.
I know. And this is kind of where it is. And it's so weird if you watch the trailer because everything in Minecraft is made of blocks. And
Yes.
everything in this movie is made of blocks except for the real actors. All of the like they have these pigs and people running around. It just looks ugly as fuck. For some reason Jason Momoa looks like an even gayer version of He-Man.
Yeah.
It just it looks horrible. And then of course they come out with this if you don't like the trailer, this movie just isn't for you. That
Well,
you
that
can't.
clip right there. That clip right there. That's the whole fucking trailer.
Well, yeah, pretty much. But it's like if you don't like the trailer, this movie isn't for you. I'm like, that's not. This is the. Where
It's
did
not
you
how
go to?
movies work.
Where did you go for marketing? This is the opposite of marketing anything. This is like me selling Raw every time we do HGM. Okay.
And even fucking Five Nights at Freddy's did better at marketing. I mean,
True.
come on.
Well, Five Nights at Freddy's actually created like a story, and I'm sure there's gonna be some backward story with like a MacGuffin, and they're gonna have to take it to some place to free Minecraft or the world of Minecraft. But the movie just looks ugly. It's all CGI, and it's all like Minecraft is an ugly game.
Yes.
So of
It looks like
course,
Windows 98.
where Super Mario, the movie, the 3D one, was a beautifully made movie.
Yeah.
Visually, it looked great. It had its own problems. Yes, it's not a great movie, but it was enjoyable enough and it looked nice. And that's pretty much what you can hope for movies like that. This just looks bad. And after Borderlands flopping hard, I don't know about this one. But like the gall of people to come out and be like, well, if you don't like the trailer, it's not for you. They're trying to sell to the widest audience. Of coming out and saying shit like that limits your audience already. You're turning people away. Have you learned nothing from Disney marketing over the last 5 years?
No,
Right.
they haven't.
Oh, you don't like this? Well, then you're a bigot. What? Stupid.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I mean, Jack Black, because of his bandmate Kyle, is already in enough fucking
Yeah,
trouble.
this is
They
not the
don't need to add to it and
no.
make it that the movie makes $0.
This is not the time for Jack Black. Jack Black was in Borderlands as Claptrap, flop.
Yes.
Then he had the whole problem with saying his bandmate saying Trump should have been shot in the head. Bad move. Now he's appearing in this. I personally have never been a big fan of Jack Black. I think he's too much for me. He's over
He
the
can be,
top.
yes.
He's good in small doses. I liked him enough in Jumanji because he wasn't the main character.
He wasn't the focal point, yeah.
Yeah, but when they give him too much, he's too much. And he was in fucking Mario. He was Bowser, and he was good
Yeah.
in that.
Yes.
I actually prefer him as a voice actor, but like he looks like a fucking hobo showing up in the middle of nowhere. Like I would keep this man away from kids, just the way he looks.
Yes.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's another mistake. I mean, Hollywood it's getting bad, man. They need to stop mining the fucking gutters of video games and superhero properties.
It's
Agreed.
the only thing they have left
There's so
because of
many
the
other
fact that they are
things.
afraid to go for any kind of script outside of what has already been fucking done because of, oh, well, that's racist, you can't do that. Or that's offensive, you can't do that. Where's the DEI in this? Where's the inclusion in this? Where is this and this?
Well, the only thing I can say is most of the video games that I've played, I'd rather see made into TV shows.
Hmm.
Then again, I'm not a huge fan of games like Minecraft or games that have zero story in them. It's like
Yeah.
whatever, pick up and play, fine. Then if you want to make a shitty movie out of those, go for it. I don't feel any which way about Minecraft. I have no investment in it. I just can say objectively it looks like a bad movie in the trailer alone. So whatever, I have an opinion, and it's like, well, people are like, "Well, keep it to yourself." You too, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Don't bother me. I won't bother you.
I'm tired of people
I'm not gonna go
policing.
watch it. You want to go watch it and waste your fucking money? You go right the fuck ahead.
I get tired of people
I'm not even gonna
policing
watch it when it's streaming for free.
online. The like gatekeeping and policing of people's opinions is ridiculous. Like they, oh, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything about it. And it's like, well, then they'll keep making shit like this forever and ever. So, like, I bet you any money, a couple pretty good indie movies that could have been gotten off the ground were canceled because they wanted to make the Minecraft movie for fucking $250 million or whatever it
Yeah,
cost.
yeah.
Which I'm pretty lowball. I'm probably lowballing that
You,
shit.
I was
To
gonna
be
say with the
honest.
amount of CGI they're gonna have to use for this movie, you are probably lowballing.
I don't know if I don't know what's happening with Jason Momoa because he's all over the place. There's certain like his agent must be like
Well,
schizophrenic or something or bipolar.
it kickstarted with a preliminary budget of 150 million.
And then it ended with,
Yeah.
I mean, double that for marketing, usually or close to it. Whatever. It's spending too much money on a pile of shit. That's the bottom line.
Agreed.
And
Yeah,
fuck,
I don't.
fuck Jack Black.
I'm never gonna watch it because I've watched the game Minecraft. Like I used to date a girl and her kids did nothing but played Minecraft. And I'm like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. What is the object of this game? And
It's
they
to
just said
mine and then
no.
craft.
So what they did what they told me was is you just go around and creating things.
Yeah,
Or what?
because you want to. I mean, the thing is, I actually think it's a good. I would actually convert it into a tool to help with younger kids learn archaeology. Not archaeology,
Or
architecture. Sorry,
science
Architecture,
architecture.
yeah.
or
Yeah,
or science.
but it also has like different metals that you mine for and things like that. When you craft, I think there is like a sense of like reality. You can't craft something that's unbelievable; it'll fall apart. So you have to kind of like build things the way they should be built in real life. So I mean,
Mhm.
like going to school, we used AutoCAD, which is an old fucking program, to build like properties, and that was supposed to help you learn how to like actually do it if you wanted to go into that career path. Something like
Mhm.
this for young kids that allows them to get that part of their mind working would be a great
Mhm.
idea. I'd like to see it much more there, and I'm not against them making a movie about it. You can make a movie about anything. It's just I'm against people being like, "Oh, you don't think it looks good? Well, fuck you. Your point doesn't matter." It's like, well,
Kind of does.
neither does yours. But like, you have to accept criticism on something, or else you get to a point where everything is great, and you're not living in the real world, and you're probably high on PCP.
Yep.
What makes matters worse is this all started with this movie back in 2012. This movie was canned when the pandemic happened because it was not something that Warner Brothers wanted to put the money into during COVID.
The same problem with Borderlands. It took forever to come out, and then when it came out, they just gave up on it because it was
Nobody
terrible.
knew it was actually released until they
And
said
it was
it now playing on the fucking trailer for it. It's like, oh wait, that came out?
and it was terrible, and that's the bottom line.
God, it was so bad.
But I have seen like clips of it, and you know what? When I first saw the trailer for Borderlands, I'm like, we'd had this discussion. I'm like, the best it's gonna be. At best, it'll be Dungeons and Dragons movie. At worst, it's gonna be what it looks like, horrible. And at
And it
worst, it
ended up
was.
being the latter.
Yeah, but
But the
that's a,
Dungeons and Dragons movie,
yeah,
if you're talking about it, was still it had its moments of greatness.
I'm gonna tell you
yeah.
right
That's what I'm
now,
saying.
the
Like it was
Dungeons and
fun.
Dragons movie knew exactly what it was, what market it was trying to hit, and it did not try to supersede those
I I would
expectations.
also say it's much more accessible for a wider audience.
Yes.
And it didn't criticize people that didn't like it. Like the active like the piece of shit you must be to produce a movie and be part of it and then criticize the audience that doesn't like it. I'm like, if they're like fucking racist and all this shit, then good, you can criticize them.
Absolutely, yes.
But if they're like valid points why the movie wasn't great, you just take that, okay? Like,
Yeah.
not everything is gonna be fucking 10 out of 10. Very few
Not
Right.
things are.
everything is gonna be sunshine and daisies.
Yeah. But whatever. Fuck Jack Black. I hope he crawls into the hole that he came from.
Well, he probably did.
He does look
Um,
like
yeah,
you know what I'd like to actually see Jack Black do for once? Play like a non-comedic role, like a dramatic
Yeah.
role of
didn't
like
he try?
he could
Didn't
be
he
like
try?
he could easily be like a drunk abusive father. Just looking at him in this image,
Didn't he try that though?
I don't think so. I think the most like straight man he's ever been. Well, he was in a war movie, but it was like
Yes.
a small part in it,
It was a small
and he
part
was
in
a
it.
lot
He
younger.
was a comedic actor in a small part.
Hmm.
I mean, Jack Black has been in a lot of movies, but none of them, the part he played was particularly serious.
Yeah,
I
not
mean,
from my
even
understanding.
School of Rock, there were serious parts where he had to be serious, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I can't think of the movie, but I know he was in. He's been in at least one or two serious roles, but his role is so minuscule that there's not really much you're gonna get from it.
Uh
Anyways, moving on from Jack Black. Thank God. Now we'll get to
huh.
the meat and potatoes of what we're gonna talk about. Now I haven't seen any of this. I've just seen what's on Twitter in terms of AEW's All Out. I believe that they just
Yes.
had. I see multiple. I see obviously you're gonna see people liking it. Maybe some of it was good. It's very possible. They have good
From what I
wrestling
heard,
talent.
there was one or
Hmm?
two good matches, but the clips I saw, at best, it was a 5 out of 10.
You're gonna give that a 5 out of 10.
I
I'm talking the show as a whole.
I didn't see
What
it, so I
what
can't
got
rate it.
so them two matches that were really good must have been really fucking good because the of the two matches that probably should have been good were the shit ones.
Well, I didn't see any of it except for like the from people talking about it. The big discussion is AEW going too far with things. And the only reason I want to bring it up, I don't give a shit if these guys want to fucking shoot each other in the middle of the ring. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
there has been progress made in all sports to ban certain things because of what it may lead to, not right now, but down the line. Right? So you get to a
Right.
point where people are beating the shit of each other and doing a bit too hard hits, especially to the head and things like that. You never know what's gonna happen, and like people are like, "Yeah, this is amazing. It's like ECW," but then you look at some of the people, the products of ECW later in life, and they're all fucked up, man. And no, you don't have to deal with that. But as you get older and you might have to deal with it on a personal level with parents or grandparents, you're like, let's try to not have this happen to people if we
Yeah,
can stop it. And I will just segue real quick. Jurgen, yes, it was the Jackal with Bruce Willis. I don't know if he was the guy that got his arm shot off by the 50 cal, but it might have been.
it's
Um,
possible, yeah.
yeah, so the big matches, the ones that I'm going to look at first. Well, the first thing is, and I think this happened first, was Daniel Bryan getting a bag. Why didn't he just tear the bag? I never
So
understood that when somebody's getting choked out by a bag. This looked like a fucking weak bag, dude. Like, just
Yeah.
make a hole in the bag, man.
so okay, so here's my thing with this. Why why do it? And
I don't know. Why
like I
hang
even so hold
Big
on
Boss
this
Man in the Hell in a
because
Cell?
I actually responded to on X with this, and I want to say what I said to them is exactly how I'm gonna say it here. Just give me a second. So go ahead, continue to talk. I'm sorry.
What
Let me
he's
pull this.
talking about is AEW themselves put out a tweet saying,
Oh yeah, I know what you're
"We
talking about.
don't condone this kind of violence, so we are not going to be showing you the footage of what just happened to Bryan Danielson." Motherfucker, you just had a fucking match on live fucking television portraying that footage.
Was this pay per view
And
match
it's
though?
now all over Twitter already.
It was a pay per view match, right? This was a pay
Yes.
per view. Like it's such a. I get what they're doing, but it's so dumb because it's like, yeah, they're playing it out like, oh, we're a news station, and this image is too graphic to show. I'm like, I don't know, man. If you rewind some of these AEW live shows, there's a lot more graphic than someone putting a bag over someone's head.
Yes.
So this is what this here it is. I don't think putting a bag over someone's head is what I would call good content. Why didn't they just beat the shit out of him? It makes no sense whatsoever. For those spots and those spots alone, you save that for like if you're
They
bringing
really do.
somebody like big in, like let's say they get Seth Rollins and
Why
Seth
couldn't they
Rollins
bring him
comes
in?
out and saves Daniel Bryan. You get what I'm saying? You save spots like that for things like that. The other thing is, I don't have a if they want to the problem is that they did it. It's they do it all the fucking time. It's an every show occurrence. Somebody's getting a fucking needle jabbed in their fucking eye, and that's an exaggeration.
No, but
Or
he
they're
actually had it in his head.
or they're hitting somebody over the head with a fucking cinder block, or something stupid that is going to cause CTE, right? And I'm throwing that up air quotes up. The problem isn't that they did it, it's that they do it all the time. That's the problem
I
with
also think like
AEW.
if I was gonna book this show, and from my understanding, I might be completely wrong. This moment with Daniel Bryan happened right before the Swerve Strickland Hangman Page match. Is that
Where
correct?
where Page shoved a fucking syringe needle into his fucking mouth.
But that they did happen like back to back. That was the booking, from my understanding. I
Yeah.
could be
Yes,
wrong, right? So like, if you're gonna do something like this and then follow
but
it with
then
something like that, it's like you don't give the audience time to breathe between like these spots that are perceived as overly violent, right? And this
right,
to me, like just the image alone, I'm like, just rip the bag open, your hands are free. Like I just
right.
don't
Yeah.
understand. And I get it's wrestling, and people are like, well, just run away when this happens, and it's for effect. I'm like, yeah, but then maybe don't do the spot if it's gonna be so obviously stupid when you see it.
Right. So, but that's not all that they did in that Swerve Strickland Page
No, I
match.
know that's
He did a backdrop on a cinder block
he
that he
did
didn't even
a.
land on.
I know. Well, he power bombed him on it, and he did land on
Or
it.
yeah, Hangman powerbomb
Yeah.
Swerve on it, but when Strickland did it to him at Hangman Page, he got a scratch on his back and the lower back where he was selling that he hit.
It's
barely
still
even touch.
like with a vertebraker on it. Like my mind is it's a very like the thing is with AEW, they're very much riding the line of constantly doing high risk, not necessarily high reward. You have
Yes.
I have
Mhm.
the people that are watching this already paid for it. So what you're essentially doing is you're giving away these super dangerous spots for people for free on Twitter. The people
Right.
watching it already paid for it. What percentage of people are going to be like, "Did you hear that he did this to him?" And they see it on Twitter and they're like, "You know what? Maybe I will purchase that $60 pay per view."
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna
Nope.
fucking do that. So you don't need to do it.
Yeah.
So my huge thing is, and you were talking about it, opinions
Yeah.
in wrestling.
Oh my god, it's the worst.
Oh yeah, well, opinions, but you were talking about in, you know, if
Just in
your
general.
opinion doesn't matter in the movie, but this is about wrestling. So this person, Chad McMahon, he he put out a post or he put out an article, and I read it. The what I have here, it looks like an opinion piece, not some hey, you all need to stop watching this shit diatribe. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's not making. He doesn't want you to conform to what his ideas are. He's just telling you what he thinks. AEW all out goes too far. Violence has no place in wrestling. That's his opinion. That's what I'm getting from this. AEW all out shocks with violent matches. The Chadster declares it the worst pay per view of all time. Blah this, blah that, blah blah blah. AEW featured excessive violence, proving Tony Khan doesn't understand real wrestling. Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander was barbaric, disrespecting WWE's dignified approach. I don't.
Don't. So first of all, before you continue, like I don't think there's any like through line of what real wrestling is.
Not
Now,
anymore. Anyway.
there's certain things that I would consider clickbait wrestling.
Yes.
Is the best way I can describe it.
Yes. So I said, so he isn't allowed to have an opinion. It looks like it is an opinion piece to me. Why are you mad about what he said? Opinions matter. He has a platform to voice it. Is he telling you to conform to his way of thinking? I don't think he is. He's just telling you what he's seen. People need to stop. This is a problem with the wrestling community. Okay. This is a problem with the wrestling community. If you don't conform to what they think, you suck.
Well, no one can
Nobody's
really have.
allowed. Nobody's allowed to have an opinion. It is if we all had to conform to what everybody thought, we'd all be mind-numbing dumb fucks walking around going, "Yes, ma'am," drooling at the fucking mouth. It makes no sense.
Nobody can have a healthy conversation about
No,
these.
nobody wants to have an actual debate. It's the same with politics. Nobody wants to have an actual debate. Oh, you like Trump? I can't talk to you. Well, why? Do you really know why I like Trump? It's not because I think he's a great guy.
And I will. Okay, so there's a couple of things. First, Neos, what's up in the chat? He said, "Looks like Shane is going over to AEW, same as ECW to
Who
WCW."
cares?
So he's joining
Who
another
cares?
brand that's probably going to fail. That's all you're telling
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think my personal wrestling fucking story in my life, going through the ages of watching wrestling, and and my opinion of what wrestling is and what I liked in wrestling changed as I grew older. But it's also not just growing older. It's kind of understanding more of the nuance in wrestling and why certain things are important. This is an opinion. It's not saying I am right. But I can tell you, most people that are just getting into wrestling, the shock and awe of seeing something like this is what they love.
Yeah.
The problem with it is it's not sustainable and it leads to a lot of injuries and it leads to problems down the line for the wrestlers partaking in it. They can do it as fucking safe as they want to, but you're dropping someone on their back on a cinder block. There's no way it's safe at all. You're hitting someone
No.
in the head with a chair like you hit Swerve with that, even if it's a gimmick chair. look at the
That's
dent in
still
that
fucking
chair.
potential brain damage with how hard he hit him.
You think like in the past they weren't using gimmick chairs? You know how
Yeah,
easy it is to get a concussion.
yeah.
Like
Terry Funk is the prime example.
I want to ask this question. Jurgen, I understand that you think I want you to explain. I wish I could in the chat explain to me why you think Will Ospreay. Well, no, that's not what I want. You may think that, but what were they fighting for?
so,
And
this
don't
is it.
just
Right,
tell me
this
they
is
were
Will.
fighting over the
So first
fucking
of all,
title
I
because
don't think he thinks that. I think somebody else is saying that that match is being considered match of the
so
year.
even if he
Hey,
thinks
Kratos.
what we have to say is what he said in the chat was Osprey versus Pac is potentially a match of the year candidate, or it has been put up
what?
for a candidate.
It may be, but so I this is the other problem that I have with AEW. You can put on all the greatest matches in the fucking world, but if you're not gonna put something behind that fucking match, I don't fucking care.
Well, I think match of the year can stand alone against like feud of the year or
Yeah,
something like that. But a lot of the times for me, if there isn't a storyline leading into a match, the match is not going to be ever as good as if there is. That's just the
Nope.
bottom line. You could have the best wrestlers in the world, and the match will be a 5-star match. But this is the only place where I'd fucking go the Meltzer and be like, it could have been 6 if you had the storyline leading into it and why these guys are fighting. If you had emotion behind it,
yeah.
because now, like it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah, I don't understand how I can tell you probably the best match I have ever seen was Kota Ibushi versus who was that? What was that match? I
Uh,
gave it 5 stars.
Kota Ibushi, yeah, was this was
Was it Kenny Omega?
No.
no, that was it Okada?
Yes.
Yeah,
There
right,
we go.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really good match. But I'm really souring on Kazuchika Okada. Ever since he's been in AEW, he has been lackluster, and the only thing he can do really well is drop kicks. That's
Well,
it.
I mean, there's two things going on there. There's exposure and what they're doing with him writing wise. Anybody can be a star. Well, not anybody, sorry, but like anybody with some level of competency can be pushed to stardom. Some of them will burn out real quick, right?
Yeah.
Like some people will be stars for a long time. Those are the ones that can bring everything else to the table. But
Mhm.
like Goldberg, he was a star. He couldn't do anything well,
No.
right? Like so that there's an example of someone that the look and the way he was booked made him a star. So
Hmm.
like you have to do that in North American wrestling. That is essential to building a star. You can't just take a big name from Japan, bring them over, and just put them in wrestling ring and be like, yeah, everybody's gonna love you just like they did in Japan. WWE did
No.
this. They did it back in the fucking Attitude Era. What happened?
Mhm.
Nothing. You had
Yep.
Taka Michinoku fucking pile driving himself, getting thrown to the Royal Rumble. That's what you ended up with.
I just
Well, no, we got the Michinoku driver out of that too. So
Yeah. Well,
AEW is they're trying to be
there's
I don't
they're
AEW.
trying to be WWE when we're at the level WWE is at now. They need 30 more years to build their shit up to get to that point.
what
Yeah.
They're trying to
AEW
be the
is
Attitude
yes.
Era.
So
Is what they're trying to be.
AEW is just running through the WWE history and in like year one they went through the fucking mid mid 90s
Yeah.
to 2000. Now they're to right about where the Attitude Era was getting ready to end, and they were still doing but they're doing Gorilla or that what's that?
This is the ECW WWE fusion point now with what they're doing.
No, they're past that now. They're now into the fucking insane championship wrestling shit where they take fucking the next thing you're gonna see them fucking do is they're gonna take those fluorescent light tubes
Yeah,
and they're gonna start
they're
hitting each
they're
other over
they're
the
They did
fucking head with.
already.
they're GC.
Fucking Willow did it to Chris Statlander.
They're on the
Yeah.
precipice of GCW.
Yes.
Is where they
Yeah.
are. It's so bad too, and I feel like I like wrestling. I would even say I love wrestling when it's done well, but I've been fucking wrestling has betrayed me a lot. So I was like, yeah, fuck this shit. I gotta take a break from it as being as like into it as I was. But I still always know what's going on in wrestling, and I'll always pay attention to some of the bigger things. The amount of talent AEW has, that the type of wrestling they're doing is beneath them. It's like taking
Yeah.
the biggest movie stars in the world and putting them in like Birdemic.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. Like I'm sure the wrestlers actually like enjoy, because wrestlers, there's a high you'll get from an audience. And those type of audiences that pop for like dangerous moves, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do it, yeah. And their faces are all over the place, right? The publicity is there. But it's a two-way street for publicity, man. You're turning off as many people as you're turning on, so you end up exactly where you started.
Mhm.
I
Yeah, I
don't know.
don't.
Daniel Bryan went from "I'm retiring" to "Choke me, daddy."
Yeah.
Well, right. And the funny thing is, and here's the thing: everybody talks about and defends. Jim Cornette does it. He defends Brian Danielson like he doesn't want to do this, but then he comes out and cuts a fucking promo saying, "This is where I've always wanted to be. This is something I've always wanted to do." So how can you fucking sit there and defend this shit? I can't wait to hear his
I,
review on
I I
this
need to
shit.
know, like, I need to fucking know the medical truth of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because the amount of wrestlers that were not approved to wrestle in WWE, that never said that they were being stopped from wrestling. They were like, they pretty much listened to the doctor telling them you shouldn't wrestle. That all of a sudden are cured of everything when they leave WWE. So what's the truth? Is Daniel Bryan like at risk for more concussions, which could potentially
Well,
fuck his life over completely?
apparently
Then how
he's
is he
got to
getting
have.
like what's the clearance in AEW? Is it like sign this waiver that we're not responsible and we'll put you in every match known to mankind, or like what's the deal?
I have a
I,
feeling that's what it is.
I don't know, but I know he came out on the night after he won the title and he said, "I'm going to have neck surgery sooner rather than later." And then he goes on this diatribe that my kids want me to come home. Well, you're going to be in a fucking wheelchair like this, looking at your kid that you can't fucking hold. Your kid's going to want to ask you a question. All you're going to do is go.
My question is, when Daniel Bryan wasn't cleared to wrestle in WWE, why the
Mm-hmm.
fuck didn't he go to any of the other companies and wrestle if he was so in love with wrestling that he's willing to risk his health? Like, what happened? I need to understand. It nothing makes sense. It seems
I
like
don't.
everybody that's fucking can't wrestle or else I'm gonna die is like
Yeah.
they walk away from WWE and go to AEW only, and it's like, yep, I'm completely revitalized. I can do everything. I am back to perfect health. I'm telling you, man, they are like a disaster away from having to change everything they do. And they are. Remember when they came out and they're like, "We're gonna ban headshots. We're gonna do this." That's a complete fucking lie. They just Swerve just got his head fucking blasted in by a chair.
Right.
So I don't know where that went.
I don't know what's going
I
on
figured it out.
anymore. What?
Jeez,
Daniel Bryan was only getting paid $2 million at WWE, but at
he
uh
wasn't doing anything. So it
yeah,
wasn't. I mean, I would be. You know what? Someone paid me $2 million to do nothing. Give me it.
uh but for AEW, I think he's making 30.
He's
Hold on, let me
also working.
verify.
The thing is, these guys like love wrestling, and I know that that's what they want to do. So when it's taken away from them, it's bad. But like, I'm wondering, like, at what point in time is it just the AEW's doctors are like, No, it was completely blown out of control. You can wrestle. Yeah, fuck, get dropped on your head constantly. Whatever, man. It's all good. You'll be fine forever.
I
He,
don't know,
yeah,
man.
Like the medical
he's
industry is supposed to be the fucking same for the majority of wherever you go. Like I don't understand.
he's still making an annual salary of 2 million
But he gets to
with
wrestle.
AEW. So it wasn't. It's not the money.
So,
He's making the
so,
exact same money that he was at WWE.
so he wants to have a bag put over his head and see if he can not suffocate. I,
There's got to be
Again, this
something else
I've
going
always
on.
said I didn't care for Daniel Bryan personally.
I felt like he was a very competent in ring worker, and I felt like
Oh,
he was a good face, which is hard to get.
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and say that he wasn't, but he was much better in WWE. I'm not sure what we're getting from this guy and why I should care.
I would
He's
need to watch
going back.
AEW
The
more.
way what he's doing now with AEW is he's basically going back to his wrestling in high school gym days.
But this is like secretly this what it has to be what all these guys want to do. They all want to wrestle indies, but be paid like they're wrestling big time. I
Yes.
have a feeling there's some sort of like commitment, extra commitments that WWE requires from you that these guys do not like, which is why they've gone elsewhere. Which
Mm-hmm.
I want to speak about this because it was shared in our Discord, and I don't want to forget it. Someone did put in there. I don't know who it was. Hopefully, you make yourself known in the chat. I can't look at it right now, but it has to do with people
Which one was
suing
it in? Speak your mind.
or notebooks given. I think it has to do with Kelly. Who was it?
Kevin Kelly.
Kevin Kelly and the
Oh,
Tate
Kevin
brothers
Kelly?
suing Tony Khan or trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Kevin Kelly and the Tate twins are suing them, and it was put in there by Aru.
Okay, so yeah, there's that coming up. They're suing him for like the the way that the contract is. It's like he's bidding people to sign independent contractor contracts where they're employees. This was the whole thing with WWE as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like the thing is, if they're employees, then they're not working elsewhere. If they're independent contractors, then they can work for other companies. And I thought that was the big selling point with AEW.
I don't know.
Because it
I,
wasn't as like, oh, you can work for us, but you can also work on other companies if you want. Like you can also wrestle there.
as long as it conforms to what we want to do. That's I don't know. I don't know.
It seems like a mess, man. I don't know.
Tony Khan needs to give up the fucking. The only way that they're going to succeed is they need to give the. He needs to give up the book. He needs to give up booking because he's terrible at it. There's nothing. Brian Last says this all the time. And if you listen to what he says, he's exactly right, and I feel the exact same way. He's terrible at booking. Everything he does, even if he has something that you can't fucking miss on, he fucks it up. He's worse than Vince McMahon at doing booking.
Sorry, I was just reading more into this article. Kevin Kelly is also seeking monetary damages
Yeah.
because he claims AEW breached his contract and caused him to being unable to find work, along with the QAnon accusations defamed Kevin Kelly.
No, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, quick shout out to Gorilla Strong. What's up? He said this feels like a jumping of the shark moment for Daniel Bryan's career. Yeah, yeah. It's like you get to a point now where it's just like they are approaching like comicalness. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of like a word where it. Where do you go from here? The next thing, what are they going to put him in a meat grinder? Like, like, where do you go from attempted murder? This is like the shit. Remember when the I don't remember who it was, but they put Roman Reigns in.
Moxley and Kenny Omega in the fucking barbed wire match.
No, Roman Reigns put him in an ambulance and like crashed into it with a fucking
Oh,
truck.
yeah, it was Braun Strowman.
I'm like, okay, well he's actually attempted murder.
Yes.
That was ridiculous booking. That, in all honesty, is it's such a like old cheap, shitty booking and storytelling. It's like
Rikishi did it too.
Vince
Rikishi
McMahon
did it.
getting
I
blown
did
up.
it. Rikishi did it. He did it for The Rock when
He did
he
it for
hit
the
Stone
people.
Cold with a car. Yeah, so I didn't like that, but it was a way to write Stone Cold off so he could. I think he needed surgery again, but um,
Heather, is there a way
it's,
to share the Discord?
Doing it right now.
Okay, cool. Because I know Kratos was saying, join us in
I
Discord.
I don't understand why it is important for them to do the high spots that they do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The
It
thing is,
it don't it every now and then is fine. You want to do it at a pay-per-view, that's fine. But they do this shit on TBS and TNT. They do these high spot matches. And they do this, everybody in that fucking company does the same fucking thing that the guy that wrestled before him did.
I just don't
So every wrestling
understand.
match is the same.
I don't understand the constant pop for the same, like you're saying, the same spots. It's like you can only go so extreme for so long before it's like, where do you go from here? That's what I'm saying. Like you're gonna have to start killing people live on air. Otherwise, you're gonna have to reel it back in. And when you do that, that like
It's
that
so
subscriber base is gonna drop.
Tony Khan does Tony Khan does backwards booking. He does the death match right away, and then they have a regular match to
Yeah.
finish off the feud.
Yeah, let's have
It's
let me power bomb
backwards
you on
booking.
a fucking cement block, and then next week we'll just fight in a regular match. Okay,
Yeah, it's not good. That's not how you book.
it's reverse
No, it's
build.
not. He's an extremist,
Yeah,
and there
He's
needs
a
to be
reverse. He's a
there
reverse
needs to be
extremist.
somebody there to rein him back in to do things in the proper order.
Oh, there's people there. He just don't fucking listen.
I
I
mean, when
also
you have
think
Dave Meltzer sitting there telling you you need to step down and let somebody else run the day-to-day operations while you just handle the money, you have a problem.
So
my
I
question.
I on the way up to here, on the drive up, the lady that does the writing for Sasha Banks, they did an interview with her.
Hmm.
You need to listen to this dumbass fucking talk. She is an idiot. She is horrible at her job.
Well, I mean, so is
So is
Sasha
Sasha
Banks.
Banks. So
So I guess
it balances. It balances.
perfect couple.
Fucking dumb, man. But
No, it's
AEW is I don't know, man. They're not going anywhere, but they're never gonna grow.
my question to you with AEW. A lot of the people you see that are being featured in AEW is talent coming from WWE that didn't get the exposure they wanted, right? So AEW gives them that exposure, like Swerve, right? Do you think there's like this unspoken thing in AEW where it's like, yeah, we're gonna push you to the moon, but you're also gonna have to do this and be in a match where you get power bombed on a cement block and get your fucking brain smashed in by a chair? Do you think there's that kind of like,
Oh, I
I
don't think
did it
it's
for you?
unspoken. I do not think it's unspoken. I think Tony flat out tells you, yeah, we'll push you to the moon, but you got to do all this for us as well.
I don't know. I'm not there, so I'm not gonna speak on it. But I
I don't
can
know either, but it just seems
Tony
like
Khan, the way Tony Khan presents himself, he is that crazy motherfucker that will expect that out of his employees.
I just get this Weinstein vibe where it's like, you know what? I will make you a movie star, but first get on your knees.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say that one way or the other.
It just
But
seems like everybody that's come from WWE to AEW, and you know it's their style, gets into like these fucking super over the top extreme
Violent
matches.
matches, yeah. I mean, and not to mention the fact that they said they were going to be different. The smallest guy is going to get the same amount of time as the biggest guy. Meanwhile, the only homegrown talent, well, not even homegrown talent that we have seen from AEW is the fucking Young Bucks.
No, yeah, they're not homegrown either. No, no, like the only homegrown talent they have is like remember Sunny Kiss? Does she or he or whatever like do they even exist on the fucking roster anymore?
I have no idea because they have not been on TV.
The other what's her fucking name? Nyla Rose. I don't know if she still
They
does
keep
anything.
getting in trouble for putting her in matches in states where they don't accept transgender people.
Okay, well, I don't know what to say, man. It seems like they like AEW. If you rewind the world when AEW was first coming out, all of the things that they said they were going to be, are they any of them?
No,
No,
So great.
at least I don't think they are.
They're an alternate version of wrestling. That is the only truth, I would say.
Yes, they're an alternative to WWE, but it's an alternate to what it's an alternate to wrestling. Because I've seen WWE lately has done more wrestling than yes, they still do the talking and stuff, but they aren't gonna give you these their matches are pretty the matches that they do have are all right. He featured Triple H has featured a lot more women's matches than Vince did. Like you see at least two or three women's matches on WWE television, which WWE is now going to be SmackDown isn't on Fox anymore in the United States.
nope.
It's back on USA.
Hmm.
And then on January 1st or whenever, um,
Somewhere around. It's
Raw
either
goes, Raw goes to Netflix.
I,
this is why when Shrek was here. He knows.
I just don't know, man, anymore. It just seems like I don't see a path to success with AEW. I don't see them making the money they're spending, and I don't see them gaining audience continuing down the path they are. And it sucks because it would be nice to have a legitimate competitor with the bigger brand WWE because everybody would probably enjoy wrestling more. And then you could even
Right.
like if they ever got to the point where they're in good terms, you could actually do like invasion angles and
Over.
crossovers that weren't,
Like they're doing with TNA now.
yeah. But I don't know, man. Like AEW, everything from somebody that doesn't watch AEW, all I see is what's on Twitter, and everything I see on Twitter is the same. It's these images that I have up. Daniel Bryan and Swerve with his head thing. It's the same every pay per view. It's like, oh, did you see John Moxley with 10,000 sticks in his head? It's like, okay, like where's like the compilation of the build to the match? Like I don't know. I just like
It's like
even like what
they
they
did not grasp what was going on after they had that incident of Nick Gage fucking slicing open Chris Jericho with a pizza cutter and then going straight to a Pizza Hut commercial.
So Nyla Rose has been on TV since she was just on a couple of weeks ago.
I'm talking about Sunny Kiss, not Nyla Rose.
Gunny Kiss, she's on Ring. Whatever the fuck you want to call her, is on Ring of Honor.
So that explains why I haven't seen her.
But they were really like, we're gonna be diverse and we're gonna be different. I mean, at this point in time, you're 60% WWE talent, and people were like, no, well, those guys were in the Indies beforehand. I'm like, yeah, like everybody knew about Swerve Strickland from the Indies. I knew about him from fucking Lucha Underground. But
Right.
I'm not gonna toot my own horn, being like, well, he was here ethically. No,
Yeah,
nobody knew about
exactly.
that shit. That company went under years ago, and he like hasn't been seen since then, since he went to WWE. So like, thinking that like they built their name in the indies and not in the biggest wrestling promotion on the planet,
No.
like where do you live mentally?
Yeah.
Swerve made his name in WWE, not in AEW.
It's
He
like Anthony Nese. I knew him from SFW because I personally went there and watched a friend wrestle at that indie scene. I then saw he came to WWE and was like, oh, fucking great. You know? But
he was never gonna go anywhere in WWE.
oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, great, he got on TV, which is what he wanted. Good for him. I never sat there and tooted my own horn saying, "Oh my God, I know him." Is you know.
Yeah.
Kratos put a comment in the chat here, which I am going to say you are sorely mistaken if you think she's plateaued now. She plateaued when she was still fucking Sasha Banks at WWE, crying because she had to lose her tag team titles.
She is. Wait, the only match she has left is against Izzy from. Is
Oh,
Izzy the fucking kid that was
Mhm.
NXT? Oh, okay, that I don't want to see. The problem, okay, Sasha Banks has not changed. She's actually receded in
oh my
every
God.
aspect of wrestling from when she was in NXT. She started to show signs of recession in WWE in the main roster,
Hmm.
and like the weird part is her fans aren't fans of her for what she actually does.
No,
They're
they're
fans
fans
of
of
her
her for shaking
because
around.
they're gross, and like she come. Listen to this fucking woman talk is mind numbing. She's like, "Well, I cried when I had to put on that ring gear. I cried when I watched you try to wrestle. You fucking
I
clown!"
cry
Like,
when I have to hear her speak.
oh,
She
her
is
promo work is so bad. It's so
she
bad.
has regressed so bad. Her wrestling work is really bad.
Thing is, her wrestling work for me was passable to pretty good at the end of her NXT run and the very beginning of her WWE run, but she couldn't stay healthy, and there came a point where it became obvious that she wasn't working on getting better in any aspect when she was just constantly disappearing, and anything you ever saw of her was like, it's me and Maui. Like, okay. It's like she divorced her husband in her mind fucking 5 years ago and has been
Yeah.
on like one of those divorcee fucking binges since then. Uh, she somehow stayed relevant, which is insane considering as far as wrestling goes, she doesn't bring really anything. Her name was worth nothing after she went to Stardom and
Mhm.
failed there. Yeah, everywhere she goes, she gets a belt. But does anybody remember or care? No. And then when she speaks, holy fucking Christ, man! I'd rather eat a shotgun than listen to her.
Right?
Anytime I see a video of her attempting to speak, whether it's in the ring, on the fucking stage up there, or at some public event, I quickly scroll past it and make sure it's muted so I don't have to fucking hear it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen a couple interviews with her, and even in those where she's supposed to be a bit more like not on, like her character's not on, she
It's
sounds like
on
the like a pile
1000%.
of shit. If that's her as a real person, my god, man, put her at the curbside, pick her up during garbage week.
Yep.
And the first instance you have of that is Broken Skull podcast.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad, and it like her whole thing. I think her biggest like gripe with WWE that she said was like they didn't want me to do the Mandalorian because you weren't even working.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can go act in a show, but you can't show up for your actual job. Of course, they're going to be like, yeah, we didn't want you to do that because apparently you're in no condition to wrestle. I think they were more than lenient with that woman, man. She got injured, quotation marks, but I think she was just like with WWE. I think she's like, I just need a mental break. I'm going through this divorce shit with my husband, and they gave her the time. And then it became the time where it's like, nah, you ain't worth it.
yeah.
Yep. I have no time for her.
No, she's
Every time she
overstayed her
comes on,
welcome for sure.
every time she comes on TV, I don't. I she first she has one or she speaks one word. I change the channel.
It's real bad. It's real bad. She needs an acting coach. She needs a wrestling
A
coach.
speaking coach.
She needs
Oh,
yeah.
but 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 her writer thinks she's really good at it.
Well, like you surround yourself with yes men, you're gonna never improve
Exactly.
anything, and that's kind of
Exactly.
like I feel that's the story, the tale of the tape for her. Like when
Hmm.
somebody starts to tell her what they actually think, and it's not glowing, a glowing review, she's like, "Well,
You're fired.
I'm out of here."
Yep,
She's terrible.
that's true.
She's
Yeah,
god
she
awful.
is.
I don't
Kratos,
want.
I'm gonna tell you, Kratos, I'm gonna tell you right now, she has no value left anymore.
No,
None.
She
And
actually
they were smart enough to put Camille with her to give her that imposing force to help her with her fucking matches. But then she goes to make a video where she sits there and says, I am a model. I need to be taller than everybody. Honey, you are 5'3" at fucking best. There's no fucking way you are a goddamn model number one.
well, this is
Because
like
minimum height for that is 5'6".
this is her
Okay?
character, and I get like some of these characters are supposed to be like, oh, we hate them. It's the go away heat. Honestly, she does not need go away heat now.
No.
She's been living go away heat for about 6 years now.
Yes.
So like she needs to become a character that people actually want to see. And because she can't bring it in the ring, you can't have her character be like that on the mic. It's just not gonna work.
Mhm.
She's no Miz, and Miz
No,
is a
she's not.
terrible
And
wrestler.
number two with my rant here,
Oh,
Camille is your fucking bodyguard. You want your bodyguard to be bigger than you.
I think we talked about this.
She's terrible.
You and I talked about it. We didn't talk about it on the show. You want your bodyguard to be bigger than you. You want them to be an imposing force, and you want them to be stronger than you because guess what? They're protecting your fucking life, you fucking indignant cunt.
The way I look at it is like you have to look at the history of women's wrestling in AEW. The only person that people will pinpoint out that they've pretty much done a good job with is Britt Baker.
Yeah,
I
she's terrible.
I that's my personal opinion, but for some reason people are like, Britt Baker's great in ring and stuff. I'm like, my God, have you seen a Velociraptor feed? There you go.
So
Fucking
so
Christ.
so there was a the at the scrum, somebody asked her interviewer a press conference or whatever, and somebody had asked Mercedes Monet a
Yeah.
question pertaining to her pending divorce. She literally looked at the guy and said, I'm not going to date you. And he said, and I love this fucking response. His response was, I've been happily married for 9 years, but thank you for, you know.
You not so much.
Oh, he told her, he said, I don't think I'd want to date you. But so my question is, and it wasn't even how has that affected your, and that's like literal question.
Yeah.
How has that affected your, and she just like, I'm not going to date you.
That's
I don't want to date you.
they've given her the wrong character for the wrong time in her career. I can tell you
They've given,
that because
well,
the character is like she's already like a fucking burning dumpster fire, and they're like, yeah, we'll make you the most detestable person alive. After I saw that interview, which by the way wasn't in character, talking about her actual divorce and how hard
mhm.
it's been, and the things she said, I was like, what? She like paints this guy out to be like a monster, and she's like, no, he was a great guy. He's a great guy, really positive light in my life. But I'm free now. Free from what? Being around someone that was really positive and great.
And loved you?
She was like, she talked like if you can't answer a question out of character in a regular interview, that's personal. Like she's probably like super fake piece of shit. Honestly,
Oh, I
He
can
is.
100% I can see it.
whatever. I hate her. We spent a lot of time talking about her before. I refuse to give her much more time. Like I see
Yeah.
her interviews and it's like, whatever. And it's also like I think like well she'll look back on her career and she'll be like, man, if I stuck it out in WWE, Triple H would have taken over, and I probably would have gotten my run as one of the top women in that company. But here I
Yep.
am in AEW. She's making money, so I guess that's all she cares about.
It
Yep.
is all
That's,
it's
Yeah, I
about.
feel like a lot of AEW is like that. I think
yeah.
they're wrestlers that love wrestling. They actually love the indie style wrestling, but they love making big WWE dollars.
Yes.
Yes.
Whatever. I don't know. Like most
However,
of
it seems like they're getting paid more over in AEW, or at least most of them are, than they were in WWE.
Right.
yeah.
Because WWE pays you on a scale of your talent
Well, they
and how
pay
much you
you.
can be used.
Well, what I did see about the AEW, and I don't know if it's true. Again, it's on Twitter, but
Mhm.
someone that was part of AEW said that the women don't want to go to training or practice. The women's wrestlers do not want to attend. Like, they won't attend the fucking training shit that they've set up for them. And I'm like, well, if you watch the women's matches in AEW, you can
They
kind of
need it more than fucking anybody.
you can kind of see that might be true.
Yep. No, I agree
The
100.
women's division is absolutely disastrous.
It is.
WWE's was bad for a long time, and they're starting to get better in WWE's women's division. Like, it's not where it will be because I can see the progress, but the amount of women's talent that they've improved, and some of them they've homegrown,
Mhm.
it's getting better, a lot better.
And the fact that they're even showing that they're putting in the effort to change and make it better is so much better.
Oh, did you know? I'll know that Kendrick Lamar will be doing the halftime show for the Super Bowl. I know. I don't care either.
They gotta
They should get
stop with the rap bullshit for the Super Bowl halftime show. Bring back a fucking metal band.
bring back pregnant Rihanna. That was like the worst thing I've seen.
Right.
She was flying around on fucking paper cups or whatever the fuck it was.
Oh, God.
Right.
Like, I don't know. All of her songs are like sexual, and she's sitting
Yeah,
there with this big ass belly, pregnant. I'm like, something about this doesn't really make sense.
Right. No, I don't. Um, that's pretty much it. AEW's a dumpster fire. WWE's kind of tapered off a little bit though.
WWE's kind of found a groove that I am not 100% in love with. They have become very comfortable with being slightly above average or actually
Yeah.
average basically, which I don't like, and I kind of wish AEW was doing better so that they would do better.
Right. Yeah, I can agree. Really the only thing that I have to say is it's football season, and of course your team loses, it's the referee's fault.
Yeah, nothing's fair in this world. Sometimes teams just
So
lose, man.
I watched the Ravens game, and I will agree and attest to that was egregious refereeing. The game might have ended great, but the egregious bullshit at the beginning of the game, I'm not going to sit here and explain the penalties, but this illegal formation bullshit that they're coming up with offensive linemen is starting to drive me fucking nuts. Um,
I hate when like a game is over officiated. It kills it.
it does.
so, but it
Any
does.
sport, really.
However, it does. However, the referees are not the blame for a team losing. The referees, although they may make some terrible calls, and they make some terrible calls, and they have, and there's been a plenty of them. It's how that team responds to, and I'm talking to all you fucking football fans out there. Stop blaming the fucking referees for your team losing. If your team doesn't respond to that adversity, they suck.
But I will say there has been times. It's not. People want to believe it's every fucking time they lose or whatever, but there are times in history of sports
Oh,
that
of
I can think
course.
of where yes, the referees decided the game, like so. When I say decided, they weighed very heavily the odds of
Towards one
winning
side
in
and the
one
other.
side.
Yeah.
Yes, you can always overcome, but that shouldn't be the
It shouldn't
case.
have to be the case. You
But
only have to overcome the other team.
if
Sometimes
it's the
though,
if it's the final play of a game, I can understand that. But in the middle of a game or with two or three plays left in the game or whatever, and there's a holding call, don't hold. That's all I
well,
can tell
all I
you.
can tell you is like I've seen referee calls where they've called foul. This was before they could actually um, uh, dispute the call,
Uh-huh.
and the call was like literally bullshit. I know refereeing is not easy to do, right? You have to
Yes,
be
but
like
But this some of those. So my question to you is: This play, was this in the middle of the game or at the end of the game?
It was at the it was throughout some
Then it,
parts of the
then
game,
it,
right? So like no, the reason I'm saying this is
I get
because
it.
what they'll do is and I'm kind of with you on this, but like they'll call a bullshit foul on someone in basketball,
Hmm.
and then they'll call another bullshit foul on that person, and then they'll get them to a place where they respond because it's like what the fuck is like are you singling me out for? So you need to like as a player you need to rein yourself in. But if they get you to a certain like, how basketball works is once you're fouled to a certain point,
You're done playing for the game, yeah.
will sit you, and that is going with a team as small and you take out one star player for a certain amount of time. That is pretty heavily influential. Yes, the team can come together and try to fight back against something, but now you're kind of this is where I'm saying you're kind of like stacking the odds. You're
Okay.
not guaranteeing victory from any one or the other. But if you do a couple like face false calls and you incite a player to start get like irritated by it, then
Okay.
you're basically teasing them to become more foul likely
Yeah.
Right.
because they're pissed off at the refs, and then you get to the
I
point where
can
they
understand
get
that.
pissed off at the ref and they get thrown out of the game, and then that is, in
So
my opinion, kind of
I so I have experienced that where the referees made an egregious call at the end of a game that cost Green Bay a win, and that was the Fail Mary. And I wish I don't know if I can show you
I've seen a couple of those
video.
calls too, though, in sports.
So that is what I call a referee costing a team a game. It has to be at the end of the game, last play, and they call a call that looks nothing like they did or have been calling all day. They just wanted to be a part of the drama that took place.
Or they don't call a game fairly from two sides. And I've seen so many basketball games where it's like, oh, this team ends up with 22 fouls and this team has 3. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay,
That was the
so
Ravens Chiefs game.
I'm
The
like
opening game was that.
yes, it is possible that one team is fouling a lot more. Or it is also possible that you're more lenient on one team than you are on the other.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen both things to be true. So but like I mean, the truth of the matter is, how many times do fans like think what they don't think your team can lose? Like foul. Sometimes they fuck up and fouls happen, and then it costs you the game. It's part of the
Absolutely.
game.
And
Yeah.
that's the mentality I have with the Ravens. Yes, they don't always have the best game and they do lose it themselves. But that opening game, oh fuck me. There was a guy on the Chiefs offensive line. Every fucking play he jumped.
She's
Ball
right.
started for every fucking play.
That,
They called him on it twice.
but that's not why Baltimore lost the game. That's my point. My only point is that call them not calling that was not didn't have an impact on whether Baltimore won or lost that game. Baltimore didn't execute on a couple of plays that they should have, and that's what cost them that game.
I
I said it when I was watching this. Baltimore did not, they looked like they did in the AFC Championship game where they Lamar Jackson was trying to do too much again, but that was on Lamar Jackson.
I think
I
it's there's a mixed bag, and it really
but
depends on the
so
situation.
for me to say that it cost the team a game, it has to be the final play of the game. You can't say, oh, that holding call in the first quarter with 13 minutes to go in the first quarter cost the Packers the game. The fuck are you talking about?
I wouldn't say
I've heard
cost,
that.
but there is like times where because a lot of sport is like ebb and flow of like te-
Forward
it's
momentum.
yeah, forward momentum in general. If you cut forward momentum off at opportune times, you will participate in a team losing, and this is only if like this is only if you're calling things that aren't actually happening. So if they're happening, then it has to be called. That's that. But I've seen bad officiating. I've seen great officiating, and I've seen refs lose their job and get fined
I've never seen a
for.
ref. I've never seen a ref get fired.
It happened in basketball
So
a couple
in
times.
the NFL, what I find funny is a coach has to sit in front of a fucking bunch of people and answer questions as to why he lost the game. The coach is held accountable, the players are held accountable. But if the referee makes a mistake, they are never, ever, 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 ever held accountable for anything.
I
Not in
wonder
the
if
NFL.
there's got to be like. Do you think there's like internal league
The
statistics for
only
referees
thing, the only thing,
for like job
they are
performance?
graded by game. And based on their grade, they will then there's certain referees that will end up being
Super Bowl ref.
referees in the playoff games and then ultimately the Super Bowl. So that the referee with the highest grade, Tim can explain it to you.
Yeah, he'd
Tim?
probably be the best person because he is a referee.
Well, I mean, no,
Yeah.
he explained it to us, but they are graded, and the highest grading officiating crew will then officiate the Super Bowl. And they might be a 60%, and that's the highest grade. So they're right 60% of the time, but because they have the highest grade, they're going to be the referees in the Super
No, but what needs to happen is when egregious calls are made and they're obvious egregious calls, they need to be sat down in front of the press, just like the coaches, just like the players, and they need to answer questions.
They need to answer for what they did.
I would like to see like for me personally because technology has gone so far. And I don't know if there's something that they've been toyed around with. And I'm just going to speak about basketball, but it could be used in any sport where they have the obviously the refs on the field or the refs on the court, and then you have like one or two refs in the box,
They do, but
right?
you can only review so many different plays.
I just like to see like a more like a voting system for calls where it's
I
like foul,
Yeah,
and
then
then if you
it
get 3 out of 4 fouls, then it's foul. If you get, I don't know. It'll slow
I
down the
don't
game, but I don't know.
know that you can't, not football, because the
There's
the
too many
field
moving
is
parts.
I think so many
so big.
calls are angle of vision and what you can fucking see.
Yeah.
I've seen referees throw a pass interference flag from 35 yards away from the play to where the player that was pass interfering, he couldn't even fucking see.
Yeah, that's I
That's
don't
a
know, man.
referee being flag happy.
You know what would be good? Remember how they had the like referee cam footage
Yeah.
in wrestling when Seth
Yeah.
Rollins was the ref? If you could get them like a gear setup, because you can get really small cameras now with great video. Don't
Yeah.
use it in game, but if you were to ask about refs decisions, and you put them on that podium, you have that fucking footage. This is what they're seeing. So if they don't
They
see
have,
shit, then they called something. And I'm like, come on, what is this from?
with the amount of cameras that are already on the field, they pretty much have that already.
Well, what I want is their
A
point of
direct line of
their
sight. I know.
direct point of view. Because if you're calling something and there's too many bodies for you to even see what it is, then you need to answer for why you called something. And that's where I
Agreed.
would go with it. But yeah, I don't know. We didn't really have any topics tonight, but we managed to string it along.
Yeah.
That's for me. This is it. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
I have nothing else. I
Yeah.
have to get up. I do have to get up at like 7:30 to travel, but it's only like a 6 mile drive, and then I'm there. So
Well, we'll call it a night here. Thanks for hanging out, everybody in the chat. It was a pretty good turnout for you guys, and thanks for the engagement. I always like it better when you guys actually ask stuff in the chat,
hmm
especially
Yeah.
when we only have a couple topics. It's nice to get some extra stuff to talk about. So yeah, again, thanks for hanging out. We will be back Wednesday. I think Heather, you wanted to do security breach.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will be back on Wednesday with that, unless someone wants to pick something up along the way. Maybe back on Thursday for Resident Evil, or I'll do it the following week. We'll see. And of course, HGM on Friday. Getting closer to that PPV.
Yeah,
And
we are.
JP, you will be back in person at home
On Friday.
on Friday. Okay. Awesome. It all sounds good. Everybody have a good night. Suck my
Good night,
balls.
everybody.